Why is it such a fuss about Costco's membership fee? I mean, it's going to help us save some money. Cara, on the other hand, always seems to drag me along on her shopping adventures. She only thinks about what's convenient for her, and I've turned down her requests countless times, but she just won't take no for an answer. In the end, she was even ready to set a date without my agreement. "So when are we doing this?" my husband chimed in, completely siding with Cara. I was shocked by his response. "What are you thinking? It's Cara we're talking about. She's definitely going to make us pay again." "Well, I plan on giving her a taste of her own medicine," Ronald said. It seemed like he had some sort of plan to deal with Cara's antics, but only if she behaved as selfishly as usual. I decided to go along with my husband's scheme. "By the way, my name is Lottie. My child started kindergarten this year, and I've been busy with his education and socializing with other parents in the neighborhood. Fortunately, most of the other moms are very kind and have helped me with various things, like advice about my child and parent-to-parent consultations. I also try to help out as much as I can, and I think I've managed to maintain a good relationship with them. Except for one mother, her name is Cara. Cara always seems to need help from everyone around her, despite referring to herself as a spoiled princess. She's hardly ever helped anyone in return. For example, when the moms make plans to go out for a meal, she often appears out of nowhere and joins in. I wouldn't really mind that, but she frequently asks for bites of other people's food, and subtly suggests that someone else pay for her meal, claiming that she doesn't have much money on her. Other mothers who have experienced similar things have the same impression of her as I do. Whenever I go shopping, I always drive my car, and most of the time she'd show up and persistently ask for a ride. While I wouldn't mind if we were headed to the same place, Cara is undeniably pushy. I was in such a hurry to catch a ride with you that I forgot my wallet. What are we going to do? Go back for it? Nah, I don't want to inconvenience you. Maybe I can just pay you back later." Every time I took her shopping, it would end up like this. She'd make excuses like forgetting her wallet or leaving her credit card at home, and always tried to avoid taking out her own wallet. Cara never seemed to have any intention of paying, and though she promised to pay me back later, she almost never did, even after I pressured her multiple times with the receipts. She didn't have any money now, or wait until her payday, she would say. "When it comes to money, you're really strict, aren't you, Lottie?" she once said. Even when I involved her husband, who was a decent man and would apologize and pay me back, Cara showed no remorse and didn't seem to care at all. Some people might not think much of a few small shopping expenses. However, when these expenses accumulated over the course of a month, they added up to a substantial amount of money. The stress of having to go to such lengths to get the money back each time we went shopping was becoming overwhelming. If only I could decline her request to go shopping in the first place, but Cara had a way of manipulating me, often using our kids. Our children were good friends, and there were times when she would have them make plans to go shopping together before coming to ask me for permission. It was hard for me to refuse when she used our children as a bargaining chip, and I couldn't tell my little boy not to be friendly with his friend. While other mother friends encouraged me by saying they sympathized with my situation, it seemed that they, too, did not want to get involved with Cara and were somewhat keeping their distance. "Hey, can you do the shopping instead?" one mom friend suggested. I asked, "Why?" She replied, "That mom friend I mentioned before is so persistent." "Well, you should just firmly decline, shouldn't you?" I finally confided in my husband about the situation, but he didn't take it seriously since he didn't know Cara's character. He said, "The kids are kids and parents are parents. You should stand up stronger." I was troubled about what to do. Then one day, my husband came home looking exhausted. I asked if something happened at work, and he told me that when he tried to go to work, he was caught by Cara. She approached him at a traffic light saying, "Oh, you're Lottie's husband. Perfect timing. Could you give me a ride to the station?" Cara asked for a favor, but she didn't seem to consider the possibility of him declining. She came out onto the road and tried to open the passenger door repeatedly. When he refused, she yelled, "How could you?" and shouted his name several times on the road, trying to call him back. "I can't believe she yelled that much on the street," my husband said. "That's what I told you. Cara is a handful. There's a limit to being a handful, right?" After that, she even asked for the fare money. My husband tried to shake her off, but due to the traffic lights on his commute, he had a hard time. After dropping her off, he wondered where she was going, to the station without enough money to buy a ticket. Unable to comprehend Cara's selfish actions, my husband was drained and finally understood why I was complaining. "What is she thinking, really?" he said. "That's why I wanted you to go shopping with her instead of me. I bet she's just as insistent with me." My husband gave a helpless shrug and seemed to give up on Cara's actions. I was also troubled about what to do. Then one day, Cara came to me with this story. "Hey Lottie, I've been wanting to go to Costco. Is that so? Do you want to go together? It's cheap and the cost performance is good." "Wait, Cara, you go often, don't you?" I replied. "No, I'm not a member." With Cara's sudden proposal, I gave a vague response. Despite not being a member, Cara was quite knowledgeable about Costco and gave various recommendations. Our family was a member of Costco through my husband, and we would occasionally use the car to stock up. So, of course, we knew about it. However, that didn't mean I was going to take Cara shopping with me. I was just hitting it off with her, thinking she was probably... After rummaging through my wallet, Cara said, "Hey, let's go. You're a member, right, Lottie?" I replied, "I'm not a member." She continued, "Oh, then your husband, that's fine too. And I want you to bring the car too." I asked, puzzled, "How do you know that I got a ride in your husband's car the other day?" Cara replied casually, "I saw Costco's shopping bags there." At Cara's words, I couldn't help but frown. I told her, "You know you can't pay at Costco if you're not a member, right? So please take care of the cashier." She nonchalantly responded, "I'll pay you back later. You hardly ever pay me back when you say that, don't you?" I retorted, "It's okay this time, right?" Despite having no such inclination this time either, Cara, as usual, turned to address my child, saying, "Can we go shopping together?" My son enthusiastically replied, "Sure." Cara continued, "So then the kids can be watched by my husband, right?" Annoyed, I said, "I haven't said we're going yet." She persisted, "Oh, come on, but it's fine, right? Costco has a membership fee and it would really help me out." Unable to bear Cara, who only thought about her own interests, I repeatedly refused. Even when I told her not to use my child to make promises, she remained stubbornly indifferent, making any discussion impossible. Eventually, without even accepting her proposal, she began to make plans as if we were definitely going. Cara turned to my husband and said, "Ah, Lottie's husband, we were just making a promise to go to Costco together." My husband, giving an absurd response, said, "Oh, that's fine. When shall we do it?" I couldn't believe my ears. Cara happily rushed to my husband and quickly secured a promise to go to Costco the following weekend. After Cara left, I poked my husband's back and couldn't help but complain. "Hey, what are you thinking? That's Cara we're talking about." He replied, "I know, but she said she'd bring her own money, didn't she? That's definitely a lie. We're bound to get stuck with the bill." At that moment, I planned to give her a taste of her own medicine. It seemed that Ronald had some idea about how to handle Cara's actions. Despite my concerns, I couldn't help but laugh when I heard his strategy. While it seemed like an outrageous payback, it only applied if Cara behaved as brazenly as usual. Additionally, if this occasion led Cara to avoid getting involved with us, it might turn out to be a good thing. So I decided to go along with my husband's plan. Finally, the day to go to Costco arrived. Cara, in a good mood from the morning, naturally got into our car, asking if I had forgotten anything. I couldn't help but retort, "Do you have your wallet? It'd be a problem if you forgot it." Cara replied, "Aren't you the one who often forgets? No worries, no worries." I was irritated by Cara's words, but Ronald amiably responded to her. Usually at this point, I would want to check by having her take out her wallet. But considering my husband's plan, I held back. Cara seemed well aware of Costco's system, probably knowing in advance that only those with a membership card could make payments if she shopped there. Inevitably, Ronald would have to pay. Then she could push the payment onto us as usual. And if she claimed she forgot her wallet, she wouldn't have to pay anything, which is probably what she was thinking. Cara's intentions were obvious, and Ronald seemed to understand them well. Cara, in high spirits, arrived at the store and swiftly started to fill the cart. With such a vast selection, it was a challenge to make choices. Cara happily piled items into her cart as she roamed the store. When I suggested that we keep our carts separate to avoid confusion with our purchases, she adjusted her cart and continued loading it without any hesitation. Ronald slyly whispered in my ear, pointing out how Cara was mindlessly adding items to her cart without even glancing at the price tags. I couldn't help but chuckle. It appeared that Cara, as usual, wasn't considering that she'd be the one footing the bill, and I decided to play along with Ronald's plan. "Isn't this fun?" Cara asked. I replied, "Wait, Lottie, is that all you're buying?" I said, "Yes, I still have some supplies at home and I can always come back, right?" Cara replied, "Oh, I see. Make sure to invite me next time." Although I hadn't exactly invited her this time, I held my tongue. We queued up at the farthest checkout line, watching Ronald pull out his wallet while glancing at the crowded checkout. Cara opened her bag, and as I had predicted, she began searching through her small bag and looked puzzled. "Oh, I'm sorry, it seems I've forgotten my wallet." Cara said. I reminded her, "You said it was okay in the car, didn't you?" Cara apologized. "I'm sorry, okay. Can I pay you back some other time?" Cara's cart had significantly more items than ours. It seemed like she intended to purchase around $200 to $300 worth of goods, but she had shown no signs of concern about the amount of money in her wallet. Considering she didn't say anything when we got home today, she probably had absolutely no intention of contributing any money. Ronald and I exchanged glances. "Oh, right, sorry. I need to take this call from my folks," I said. I left my cart with Ronald and stepped out of the line. I hid behind the nearby shelves, secretly observing their interactions. Cara seemed to be chatting with Ronald without a care in the world. "It's a shame you bought so much but forgot your wallet. It's really a bummer, but I'm lucky to have a friend who can cover for me," Cara said. Ronald replied, "Oh, I forgot to buy something. Can you hold my place in line while I go get it?" Cara reluctantly agreed. Fine, but hurry back, okay?" As Cara waited for Ronald, he also left the line. It was a Sunday morning, one of the busiest times at Costco. As soon as Cara turned to face the cashier, she was engulfed in the crowd. Now, what would she do with a cart that full? She couldn't really claim that she wasn't buying anything, could she? Saying that, we exchanged glances and shared a wry smile, hidden behind the store shelves. We walked around the back of the shelves and queued up at the farthest checkout line on the opposite side. From there, we observed Cara, who appeared to be waiting for us while slowly giving up her place in line to those behind her. Given the crowded Sunday morning with many people planning to grab lunch here as well, she wouldn't be able to spot us in line, far away. We paid for our goods and left the store first. Then we got into the car and waited for a while. When I checked my phone to reveal the prank, there was a message from Cara. It read, "Hey, still not back? Come on, don't keep me waiting like this." I couldn't believe she could stand in line that long without her wallet. Ronald suggested, "Why don't we just tell her the truth and ask her to come back to the car?" I agreed with the idea. Apparently, she was still waiting diligently, which made us all chuckle. I wondered what she was planning to do after putting all that stuff into the cart, and then realizing that we didn't have enough money to pay for it all. With that thought in mind, we told her that we had already finished paying and went back to the car. As expected, an outraged call came in from Cara. "Hey, wait a minute. What are you thinking? I'm not done shopping yet. If you don't have your wallet, you can't shop in the first place. Come on back now. Don't make it impossible for me. Stop joking around. Come back quickly and pay for this." We firmly stated we're not paying. But Cara insisted that I brought her, so I should pay. In the end, she even threatened not to go back home unless I paid, which made my husband, Ronald, even more fed up than I was. "Well, if she doesn't want to come back, there's nothing we can do," Ronald said, and he started the car. When I asked how she'd get home, Ronald just said, "She'll be fine. I bet she'll just force someone to give her a ride if it comes down to it." Ronald said this with a laugh, still holding a grudge about the time Cara had forced him to drive her to the station. I kept communicating with Cara, even telling her that we would leave her behind if she didn't come back, but she wouldn't listen. Maybe it was harsh to leave her behind, but with the way things were going, I didn't know what else to do. Knowing her, she'll figure something out, I thought as we left the store. The next day, Cara managed to get home by herself, taking the bus. My husband, still laughing about how she did have a wallet after all, was met with a furious Cara storming into our house. "You left me stranded at the store. That was so mean," she shouted. I replied, "Well, it's your fault for going shopping without bringing any money." Cara continued, "So you just left me? That's the worst. You could have just paid for me. Do you even realize how much you've been mooching off us? You're always like this, Lottie. You're always so stingy." She brought up her self-centered arguments, yelling endlessly about how she was unhappy that I didn't spend my money. She even demanded compensation for her emotional distress, making a scene at the entrance of our house. "What's going on here with all the shouting?" Catherine, a mom friend passing by, asked. Cara gave a smirky smile the moment she saw her. She must have wanted to spread the word about how awful I was through Catherine. "Lottie promised to take me shopping and then she left me," Cara claimed. Catherine responded, "Oh, you mean you pressured her into making a promise, right?" Cara insisted, No, it's not like that. Lottie said she'd take me. There's no way she'd invite someone who's always forgetting her wallet and relying on others to pay for her," Catherine remarked, exposing the truth behind Cara's claims. Cara, who had thrown a tantrum trying to get me to pay for her again, was left speechless. I had anticipated that Cara might spread some rumors, so I had already discussed yesterday's events with Catherine under the pretense of seeking advice. On the flip side, Cara, who was lectured by Catherine, left with a bright red face. Catherine, while encouraging me and acknowledging it was a tough break, seemed a little amused. I was sure she would share the story of Cara's misdeeds with others in the neighborhood. After that, Cara couldn't even correct the truth, and thanks to Catherine, her actions quickly became common knowledge throughout the neighborhood. Cara tried to make allies, but she ended up spreading unnecessary rumors herself. It seemed like no one was willing to support her. On the contrary, many people told her that she got what she deserved and started distancing themselves from her even more. Cara, however, continued to blame me, as she always did. After a while, it seemed she was severely scolded by her husband. Now, she would start running away as soon as she saw me. Since the people who were fed up with Cara's actions started to praise me for doing a good job, I'd like to think that this issue is settled. Because of Cara's constant annoyance, I was distanced from many people. However, this incident has brought us closer. We started going shopping together, but of course, we each pay for our own things, and we've built a balanced, good relationship of give and take.